Meow, 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 meow. Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Everybody, Cantonese Cat here. Something's happening with Mara. The institutional ownership per Fintel.io has spiked for the month of May, even though price has been just kind of going sideways for about like 5 or 6 months now. But it has spiked in for the month of May. It also has currently about 43, 44% institutional ownership, which is a lot. I think this is like the second highest institutional ownership after Clean Spark. Clean Spark, I think, has around 49 to 50%. Yeah, about 50% institutional ownership, which is actually quite remarkable by itself as well. But yeah, like a lot of funds are owning Mara. Like you're not talking about anything small. You're talking about like Vanguard, BlackRock. Like they own like 10.5% of Mara and 8% of Mara. Like these are big guys that are owning it, right? And if you just look at the monthly chart on Mara, if I just pull out the Blackhead fund flow trend, oscillator to see what the whales fund are doing, basically they just continue to have inflow. Like right now, price has just kind of gone sideways for about 6 months. You continue to have this like whale inflow coming in. When you have this consolidation of price and whale inflow coming in, it can anticipate a potentially very, very powerful move going up. Just like over here, you have price kind of going sideways for like 3 or 4 months, and well, info just kept on going up. I think this is a very, very similar setup that we had over here before potentially IWM breaks out. If IWM breaks out to all-time high, you might end up getting a candle, maybe not as impulsive as this candle over here, but you might end up getting like a very, very nice kind of god candle of some kind to kind of push price up higher and to make the technicals into a lot more sustainable, more bullish form, right? But even so, like if you just look at the chart itself, really again since like December of 2022, it's really been forming some pretty nice channel on the way up, full of mostly higher highs and higher lows, right? Right now, I think we've just been putting in a lower over here, and we're trying to push a lot of resistance here. Now, we are at a lot of resistance levels over here. I'm going to show you, and there's a potential that we might still not be able to break through because we are at a lot of different kinds of resistance here. Now, if it breaks above the current level though, and if it's able to convincingly break above the current level, things can get really, really bullish really quickly. But I never want to let you to be too bullish right at resistance, right? So what kind of resistances are we talking about? I'll show you. I'll show you here in right now, actually. I'm going to pull up the Ichimoku cloud. The Ichimoku cloud is going to give you these lines over here. It's going to give you like the Tenkan and the Kijun lines, right? Tenkan is this blue line over here. For bull market, you really want to see the price really kind of get above the Tenkan and ride the Tenkan up. Because if you don't, it can actually serve as resistance. You want to flip the Tenkan, the blue line over here, from resistance to support in order for you to have a more decent bull trend, right? So far, the Tenkan is still serving as resistance. Tenkan is at 20.63, and we got kind of rejected here a little bit, didn't we, for the month of May? But again, that's okay because over here before the big giant breakout, like we also got rejected here by the Tenkan. You had a very bullish Tenkan Kijun cross over here. You also had a very bullish Tenkan Kijun cross over here. There are a lot of correlate between what's going on over here and what's going on over here, including wealth and flow, including the Tenkan Kijun crosses in terms of the technicals, including the fact that the price just kind of consolidating underneath this area over here, maybe even initially getting rejected from this area over here before potentially big breakout could potentially happen. But with that said, and again, I always want to caution you, right? We are at resistance. You don't want to do anything too crazy. I'm holding shares. I'm comfortable holding shares. But if we breaks out about this level, I think like you're really talking about potentially going up to like potentially like the high 30s and $40 next, right? And if you go up there in a hurry, it's gonna end up resetting the technicals to turn into a lot more bullish. So that's one thing to kind of pay attention to, right? Now, if you just pull up the Bollinger Band, it's not going to show you too much right now. Again, this look over here looks very, very similar to over here, where you had a 20-month moving average just kind of, turning from bearish to bullish here for a few months over here, right? And the Bollinger Band initially started to expand a little bit here, but because of the consolidation here for a few months, it started to contract here a little bit, right? Getting coiled up here, potentially for the next big move, right? And if the 20-month moving average is pointing up, most likely the move is going to go up. Right? This is a very, very similar morphology as it was over here. You know, when you see that the consolidation, price consolidation over here, end up consolidating the Bollinger Band here a little bit, right? Same thing over here. It's just consolidating it a little bit before the real move happens, before the real Bollinger Band expansion happens, and the lower Bollinger Band goes all the way down to the floor, and the upper Bollinger Band continues to expand, allowing the price to go up higher. I think potentially we're going to have a very, very similar setup over here as opposed to like over here, based on a few things I'm looking at. Now, let's look at the Ichimoku cloud here in a different time frame. I'm going to look at 2 week here. Again, you're going to see that right now we're at resistance, right? The Kijun over here is around 20.63, very similar to the monthly Tenkan. We're at resistance, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if we're having a little bit of a hard time trying to break above over here around this level. And I never caution you to be too bullish at resistance, right? But if you're able to break above this resistance, it's going to get a lot more bullish from here. The other thing too, if you look at the weekly, at the weekly, you're not really seeing too much from the Ichimoku cloud. I'm going to stop that. But if you put up the bull market support band, again, we're at resistance, right? That's the thing. Like we're at resistance. The 20-week moving average is actually crawling down a little bit, and right now price is just underneath a slightly negative sloping 20-week moving average. So that's going to be some pretty key resistance. We try and break above once, right? Last week was not able to break above, got rejected, right? Everybody got super bearish after that. And right now is only Wednesday, and we're trying to touch that level again, and we're trying to break above that again. But it's a little bit negative sloping, so that's going to serve as a little bit of resistance there, isn't it? The number right now for a 20-week moving average on the top of the Boomerang support band here is 20.44. Again, you're seeing a whole confluence of these kind of resistance over here from the Ichimoku cloud and from the Boomerang support band from the 20-week moving average over here. That is causing some problems, if you will. Now, are you asking me whether or not this is a bull trend or a bear trend? I mean, are you serious? Like higher high, higher lows, for the most part. You have a very nice hammer candle over here, which serves as a very, very nice bottom, right? You basically price found support at the 50-week moving averages, 50-week moving averages pointing up. So it's going to serve as pretty decent support on the way up, right? But you are still hitting some, pretty key resistance down here. I think that the local bottom is in, and I do think that we're trying to build enough force to try and break about this resistance. I just don't know how far it's going to coil before it breaks out. But I do think that there are a lot of things that are telling me that I think that we're getting ready, potentially over the next weeks or so, to really break above this boomerang support band and all the other, Ichimoku cloud resistance levels to go up higher. And if you also want to look at other kind of, support, if you just pull up the volume weighted average price, you can see that, the line over here, which is the dark blue line over here, this is the volume weighted average price. It can serve as very, very important support. And it served as pretty decent support. I mean, the hammer went wick down and found support from there. And then next thing you know, tap and tap over here twice. So this is a pretty decent support level over here. We're basically squeezing between a resistance level and a support level. And the support level actually looks stronger than the resistance level to me. So we'll see which one wins in the short term. I do think that eventually, because this is an overall bull trend, you're going to end up falling a higher time frame, and you're going to end up being, you know, having bullish continuation is going to be what is being favored here, right? But I'll be lying to you to say, oh, it's just going to move from here without any resistance, because I just showed you several resistance that are very, very important to consider. Now, let's see the volume shelf, the anchor volume profile. I'm going to pick a point over here to show you kind of where the resistance above is, right? We are at an interesting juncture where I think we are at the top of this volume shelf over here. And price has just basically been bouncing for about 5 to 6 months between these two volume shelves, and it's just been ranging, right? Again, traders want to buy the bottom of the range, and institutions want to set the floor, right? Right now, the floor price is in the high teens. I don't think there's any question. I'm not sure if this gap over here at around 13.7 is going to get filled because institutions is basically saying, yeah, we're going to set a floor for Mara right around the high teens. So, and traders also going to come in. I mean, they bought over here, both institutions and traders bought, right? At the bottom of this range. So, what's going to happen is probably going to end up hitting the top of the range. And then we'll see how it reacts at the top of the range, right? Is it going to break out this time for good? Probably, because consolidation, like I think it's already consolidated enough. I don't see any reason particularly to try and consolidate any further. I think the whales have already bought enough, accumulated enough. I think that you already have some pretty nice formation, very nice support over here. And the next logical step is going to go back to the top of the range and see whether or not it can break through. I can see it happening over the next month or two based on what I'm seeing.